Baby reindeer is the most insane thing I have ever seen in my life, and I need to talk about it.
She comes to my work, my house. She sends me emails like all the time.
Are any threatening towards you?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that's particularly threatening.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Mike here. Thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel, thumbs up, comment, all of the stuff you're supposed to do. I'm really trying to grow this channel and I do pop culture videos like this. So if you like this, you'll like my other stuff. Okay, let's get into it. So if you haven't seen Baby Reindeer yet, the first thing I'm going to say is do that now. It is really good. This show, which is a Netflix original that I binge watched in 2 days, by the way, is one of the best pieces of media or content that I have seen in 2024. It is probably my favorite thing I've watched in 2024, and everyone's talking about it. I understand that I'm late to the party here and everyone's kind of already watched it, but I still wanted to talk about it on my channel because it was that good. And it was one of those shows where an episode ends and you kind of can't not watch the next one. You just have to play the next episode right away. Basically, the TV show equivalent of a page turner with a book. And the last time a TV show was able to do that for me was probably with Squid Game. You know, the show where you would get to the end of the episode and you would feel so intense and you were just dying to know what happens next. And this show, which is based on a true story, is harrowing, intense, disturbing, entertaining, engrossing, all of these things at the same time, and it is absolutely incredible. So if you haven't seen it, Baby Reindeer is based on the real life experience of comedian, writer, and actor Richard Gadd. In the show, his character's name is Donnie Dunn, but it is based on his life. He is a struggling comedian who is working in a pub where he meets his stalker, Martha. And Martha goes on to serially stalk and harass not just him, but his family as well over the period of a few years. She comes into his pub and she claims to be a high-profile lawyer looking after some of the biggest politicians in the country. So Richard Gadd gives her a cup of tea on the house, which leads to a deep, dark obsession from Martha. And at first he kind of entertains the idea of her liking him and has kind of like a flirtatious relationship with her as a customer, but it quickly spirals out of control. She finds him on Facebook and sends him lots of messages. She tweets him. She sends him over 41,000 emails, eventually gets his phone number and rings him non-stop, leaving him hours and hours of voicemails, and eventually attacks his girlfriend, begins harassing his parents in Scotland, and also finds her way into the house that he's living in. And the helpless Donnie Dunn really has no idea how to handle this when she starts showing up at his stand-up comedy performances and just generally ruining his life.
Just to give you some context, ladies and gentlemen, this is Martha, my stalker. Say hello to Martha.
Don't you dare say that to me!
Again, it is really harrowing to watch this happen, particularly knowing that it's based on a true story and that someone actually experienced this harassment in real life. But it is also made abundantly clear to you, the viewer, that Martha is mentally unwell. You know, she waits outside his house at a bus stop in the freezing cold overnight and, you know, is close to death, so much so that Donnie Dunn feels sorry for her and walks her home. It's a really complex look at humanity and the human condition, and it's really interesting to watch. Not only that, but Richard Gadd, who created this show based on himself, really doesn't paint himself as a hero or a victim or anything like that. You would think generally in a story like this, the stalker would be portrayed as like a menace and a villain, whereas the stalked person, the victim, would be portrayed as kind of like a hero and a victim, but it really isn't the case. In fact, I would say that Richard Gadd approaches this with so much honesty and just rawness of his own flaws and his own problems that are also like quite harrowing to watch. He never portrays himself as the hero of the story and kind of leans into the complexities of human beings and our psyches in a way that I haven't really seen done before. I think it takes a lot of bravery and courage for him to represent himself this way in a show that he has full control over. He's not hiding his own flaws and insecurities here, and that makes it so much more interesting.
My confidence is so low, right? You'll enjoy this. That I let this fucking mad bitch into my life.
And in exploring the inner psyche of Richard Gadd, we learn that he not only is struggling with this stalker, but also struggling with his sexuality, his relationships, and we also eventually uncover his past being assaulted by a TV writer who took advantage of him, groomed him, and abused him over a period of several months. This part of the show is definitely the most difficult to watch. It is just devastating to see what happened to him, and the actor who portrays Darian, the TV writer who takes advantage of Donnie Dunn, is just spectacular at being this villain, this psychopathic villain essentially. And we realize how much this trauma from his past contributes to why he is so reluctant to report Martha and keeps kind of entertaining her stalkerishness. Because he says himself he receives some kind of sick validation from the fact that she is obsessed with him. And this series has just captured the world by storm. Like, people very quickly figured out who the character Martha was based on in real life simply by like comparing tweets and social media posts of a real woman whose name I won't say, but like you can easily find out who it is. There's also been a lot of speculation about the identity of Darian, the TV producer and writer, including someone who had been falsely accused of being that person, which led to Richard Gadd in real life telling people to stop speculating, which I do think is kind of stupid because of course people are going to speculate. And of course this all came to like an eruption when the woman who Martha is allegedly based on appeared in an interview with Piers Morgan, who was really good at interviewing her and kind of allowing her to speak.
The internet sleuths tracked me down and hounded me and gave me death threats, so it wasn't really a choice.
In this interview, which goes for about an hour, she makes a series of contradictions and just complete nonsensical statements, denying things, then sort of letting up a little bit and being like, oh, well, maybe I sent him a few messages, and then saying, no, I've never met him, and then, yes, I knew him well, and all of these contradictions that just are so absurd. And you watch this interview and you can kind of be like, yeah, this is definitely the woman in the show. Not to mention the fact that she looks exactly like the actress who is portraying her in the show. But it is pretty disturbing. She denies every part of this story. She definitely acknowledges knowing Richard Gadd, but denies ever sort of having his number or emailing him or anything like that. It is quite fascinating to watch this unfold. And I guess in some ways it's raised this ethical question of like, well, can you call it a true story if she's denying it? She wants to sue Netflix for defamation now, but here's the thing that I have to be really clear about. There is no way that Netflix would make this show and allow this show to get made unless they had evidence of the emails, the calls, the voicemails, and everything else. There is no way. Netflix is a big company. They've got they must have a huge legal team overseeing them. There is no way they would take a risk of making this show unless they could prove that she had done these things. And there is no way they would say to Richard Gadd, hey, we need to see these emails. We need to see evidence that this is true before we make the show. Absolutely no way. At the end of the day, I think this show is so fantastic, and the way that, again, it is such a grey show. There is no hero or villain. There are so many problematic characters, which kind of reinforces the idea that we are all grey. We are all flawed as humans, and Richard Gadd really showcases that by portraying his flaws out there in the open for everyone to see in something he had full control over. This is definitely one of the best shows I have seen in a very long time. If you haven't watched it, you should watch it. And I'm excited to see how this story continues to unfold. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hey, if you like pop culture videos and entertainment videos like this, please subscribe to my channel. Check out some of my other videos. I know you will like some of my other content. This is what I do, and I'm trying to grow it. Please support my Patreons. Thank you to all my Patreon supporters up there. It really means a lot to have some income coming in on this channel. You can comment below. Let me know your thoughts on Baby Reindeer. Do you think that Piers Morgan interview, she was telling the truth or lying? I mean, I know what your answer is anyway, but comment it down below. Check out some of my other videos. Check out my podcast. It's on this channel or wherever you get your podcasts. And yeah, follow me on all the socials, all the stuff that us people tell you guys to do. I would love to connect with you somewhere on the internet. That's all for today. I'll see you in another video. My name is Radio Mike, and this has been The Inside of My Mind. Catch you later.